So I was going to work on tuning up my bike, and I have it tied up there so that I can lift the back wheel up so I can turn it as I work on it. But yeah, so it didn't quite work out because the cables really need to get replaced. They're really old. And so I think while I get the cables replaced, I'm also going to just try and get some new shifters also. That's kind of rusted out and not looking too well. And that obviously is not looking too good either. So it's time to change the cables. The rubber on this part is also getting really worn out. So it's kind of sticky and it kind of leaves like a weird sticky residue on your hand, kind of uncomfortable. So that's gonna have to be replaced also. And while I'm at it, I think I'm just gonna get an entire new, shift brake system. So I have a pretty short video for this week, not too eventful. We had Thanksgiving. I did my 36 miles, 18 walk, 18 run. Next week I'll do 42 miles, 21 miles walk, 21 to run. This week I've had a little bit of a shin splint in my right leg. Not too horrible though. I've been able to run on it and it not worsen any. I just stuck to foam rolling it and stretching out my calves a good bit, slowing down my running pace and running in the grass. So I'm looking at in January doing an actual 5K locally here. It's the Matanzas 5000 put on by the Ancient City Roadrunners. It's been years since I've done any sort of racing, so I think it'll be fun to sort of get into the race atmosphere again. Now I obviously don't expect to run a PR, but if I could run under 20, I'd be pretty stoked. Realistically, it'll probably be between 20 and 23, but I'm gonna shoot for 20 pace, which is I think around like a 6:28 mile. Being that the running has been the only thing that I've really been able to train recently, it has been sort of at the forefront of my focus. So I've been watching some track and field videos online to sort of keep me entertained. And it's been really inspiring watching some of the new athletes that are absolutely crushing it. Jakob Ingebrigtsen from Norway, that's just, it's pretty wild to watch what he does and how he can run so relaxed and so fast. It's absolutely insane. Supposedly the way that he trains is very scientific. His dad trained him and his brothers from a very young age. They seem to do some good lactate threshold training and they don't overdo it. Now those distances for the track are more middle distances and I can't necessarily train that way right now because for the Ironman, obviously you have to run a marathon and a crap ton of other stuff. So it's a little bit of a different ball game. But thinking ahead, in about a year from now, I do have unfinished business from way back in high school, and I really want to see how fast I can run some of my middle distances. So just as an idea, for right now, a year from now, once I'm really fit again after doing my Ironman, I'd like to work on a bit more running strength and then build it up into doing some track speed. But for right now, some of the best training that I think that I can do all around is going to be my lactate threshold training. I'm looking at changing my diet a good bit to try and build up my mitochondria and my hemoglobin. Living here in Florida, I don't have the luxury of doing altitude training for my hemoglobin, but training to improve my mitochondria is going to be the next best thing. As a matter of fact, I remember back in high school, a lot of the time when I would race, it was much more the feeling of my legs burning, slowing me down more so than being out of breath. I feel like I definitely had the aerobic capacity to push really hard, but I was always limited to the muscular endurance side of it. A lot of that probably also had to do with my strategy or lack thereof, just not knowing how to pace correctly, and then getting a lot of hydrogen ions and lactate stuff built up in my blood too early, and then trying to clear it out throughout the race and just running not as fast as I could have as a result. So throughout this year, I want to do a lot of fartlek and lactate clearance style training. And as far as my diet, I've been looking at sort of the science of mitochondria, and something that inhibits the biogenesis of mitochondria is fructose and sodium. Studies have shown that in athletes who reduce their fructose and their sodium intake, increase their mitochondria significantly. There is also some nutritional supplementation that I'm looking at implementing But I think that one of the biggest things that will make a difference will be cutting out fructose and sodium, or at least lowering the amount of sodium and fructose that I intake. But anyways, back to the 5K. The Matanzas 5K is going to be in late January, so I have about a couple months to see what I can do. I really do want to push to see if I can break 20 minutes. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to get back to doing my intermittent fasting, as that seemed to work out very well. Right now I've been sitting around 190, and if I can race a 5K weighing in at about 175 to 180, then that will probably be my best shot at being able to run a sub 20.